My father gave everything to my sister at the inheritance party. The mansion, the money, the love. I got nothing but a broken heart and a glass of champagne I never wanted. But my father made one mistake. He thought the quiet daughter would just disappear. He had no idea what I was about to do next. My name is Emma Hartwell, and I am going to tell you the story of the day my father almost broke me. It is a story about what happens when a quiet girl finds her voice. It starts with a party, a glass of champagne I never wanted, and a man who thought money could fix everything. But some inheritances are not about money at all. They are about love, forgiveness, and the courage to stand up for yourself. Let me take you back to that October afternoon. The leaves were falling outside the Hartwell mansion in Connecticut. It was a big, cold house on a hill, full of empty rooms and old memories. My father, Richard Hartwell, loved that house more than he ever loved any person. I was 26 years old. I worked as a librarian in a small town called Millbrook, 3 hours away from the mansion. I drove a 10-year-old Honda Civic with a dent on the passenger side. I wore cardigans with stains from coffee and sadness. My life was small, but it was mine. My older sister, Chloe, was 30 years old. She was a social media influencer with perfect white teeth, a husband named Brad who sold luxury yachts to rich people, and a following of 2 million people on Instagram. Her life looked like a dream. Every photo was filtered. Every smile was practiced. But the world loved her, and my father loved her most of all. My father had called me 2 weeks before the party. His voice was stiff and cold like always. He did not say hello. He did not ask how I was. He just said, "Emma, there will be a gathering at the house on Saturday. Do not be late. Wear something decent for once." That was it. "No, I miss you. No, I am proud of you. Just an order." I should have said no. I should have stayed in my tiny apartment with my cat, Mr. Mew, and read a book by the window. But some small, stupid part of me still hoped. I thought maybe, just maybe, he wanted to say he was sorry for all the years he ignored me. I thought maybe he wanted to say he was proud of me for taking care of Mom when she was dying. You see, I was the one who stayed with Mom when she got sick. I was the one who held her hand in the hospital. I was the one who bathed her and fed her and read her favorite poems when she could no longer speak. I was there when she took her last breath. Chloe was in Cabo that week, posting pictures of margaritas on the beach. She did not come home for the funeral. She said she could not handle the sadness. My father did not say a word against her. He just nodded and poured himself another drink. But I never complained. I never asked for thanks. I just kept my head down and did my job at the library and lived my quiet life. I thought that being good and being kind would eventually be noticed. I was wrong. The world does not notice quiet kindness. The world notices loud beauty. And Chloe had that in spades. So on the day of the party, I put on the only nice dress I owned. It was navy blue, simple, a little tight because I had lost weight from stress and grief. I pinned my brown hair back with a clip. I did not wear makeup except for some lip balm. I looked like what I was: a librarian, a caretaker, the invisible daughter. I drove 3 hours with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. The whole way, I practiced what I would say. I would be polite. I would smile. I would not let them see that I was hurting. I told myself that I did not need their money. I only needed their respect. But deep down, I knew I would not get that either. When I arrived at the mansion, the driveway was full of expensive cars. Mercedes, BMWs, a few Porsches. I parked my Honda at the very end of the driveway, behind a bush, so no one would see it. The front door was open. Music was playing. People were laughing. A waiter in a white jacket handed me a glass of champagne. I did not drink it. I just held it like a shield. I walked into the living room and I saw her. Chloe. She was wearing a red dress that probably cost more than my car. The dress was tight and short and sparkled under the lights. Her blonde hair was in perfect waves. Her makeup was flawless. She stood next to Brad, her husband, who wore a blue suit and a smile that looked like a shark smile. Chloe saw me from across the room. She waved with her fingers, like a queen waving to a servant. She walked over, her heels clicking on the marble floor. "Emma," she said, "you came. Oh, honey, you look comfortable." She kissed the air near my cheek. Then she stepped back and looked at my dress. Her eyes said everything. She did not need to speak. I said, "Chloe, what is this party about?" She smiled. "Dad has big news. He is so excited." "You will see." I said, "What kind of news?" She just smiled again and walked away. Brad followed her like a trained dog. I stood there alone, holding my champagne glass, watching all these rich people laugh and talk. No one talked to me, no one even looked at me. I was a ghost in my own family's house. Then my father appeared at the top of the grand staircase. Richard Hartwell was 72 years old, but he looked like a statue carved from ice. His hair was gray and perfectly combed. His eyes were sharp and blue and cold. His suit was black and probably cost $10,000. He raised a glass, and the room went silent. "Thank you all for coming," he said. His voice was loud and clear. "Today, I am announcing the future of the Hartwell legacy. As you know, I built this company from nothing. I started with a small warehouse and a dream. Now it is a multi-million-dollar empire, but I cannot live forever, so it is time to pass the torch." My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it. I looked at Chloe. She was beaming. Brad had his arm around her waist. They looked like a painting of perfect people. "After much thought," my father continued, "I have decided to leave everything to one daughter. The company, the mansion, the investments, the trusts, the vacation homes, everything I own, to my daughter, Chloe." The room erupted in applause. People cheered. People clapped Chloe on the back. People crowded around her like she had just won a crown. Brad was already shaking hands with the lawyers. Chloe was crying pretty tears, saying how honored she was, how she would continue her father's legacy, how she would make him proud. And me, I stood by the window. The champagne glass slipped from my fingers and shattered on the marble floor. The sound was loud. A few people turned to look at me. They saw a girl in a navy blue dress with brown hair and no makeup. They saw a girl who looked like she had just been punched in the chest. Then they looked away. No one came to help me. No one asked if I was okay. I walked toward my father. My legs felt like they were made of glass. Each step was a small miracle. I stopped in front of him. He was still smiling at the crowd. "Dad," I said. My voice was barely a whisper. "What about me?" He looked at me like I was a stain on his carpet, a bug he had forgotten to step on. "Emma," he said, "do not make a scene." "Not today," I said. "A scene? I am your daughter too. Mom's last words were, 'Take care of Emma.' Remember that? You were in a meeting when she died. I was there. Alone." I held her hand. I closed her eyes. "Where were you?" His jaw tightened. His eyes got colder. "Your sister has vision, Emma. She has ambition. She has drive. She will grow the company. She will make the Hartwell name even bigger. What would you do with a business? Sell romance novels to old ladies? Run a bake sale?" People were staring now. The room had gone quiet. Chloe rushed over and put a hand on my arm. Her fingers were cold. "Emma, please," she said. "Not today. Let us talk later. Let us be civil." I shook her off. I said, "No, not later. Now, why Dad? Why her? Tell me the truth for once in your life." My father stepped closer to me. He lowered his voice so only I could hear. He said, "Because you remind me of your mother. Weak, emotional, content with less. You settled for a library job. You settled for a small apartment. You settled for being invisible. Chloe is a fighter. She takes what she wants. There is no room for caretakers in my world." Those words hit me like a slap in the face. Weak, emotional, content with less. He called my mother weak. My mother, who fought cancer for 3 years, who never complained, who held my hand and told me she loved me even when she could barely breathe. That woman was weak. That woman was a fighter. She was the strongest person I ever knew. But I did not cry. I did not scream. I did not beg. I just looked at my father and I felt something inside me snap. Not break. Snap. Like a rubber band that had been stretched too far and finally found its shape again. I said, "Okay, Dad, I understand." He looked relieved. "Good," he said. "Now go have some cake. There is a nice slice with your name on it." That was the moment I decided to change. Not to become cruel, but to become strong. I walked out of that party with my head held high. I did not run. I did not cry until I got to my car. And when I did cry, I let myself cry for 10 minutes. Then I wiped my face, started the engine, and drove home. The next morning, I went to work like nothing had happened. I shelved books. I helped an old man find a mystery novel. I read stories to children at story time. I smiled. I was normal. But inside, a fire had been lit. Not a fire of revenge, a fire of self-respect. For the next 6 months, I did nothing dramatic. I did not confront my father again. I did not call Chloe. I did not post angry things on social media. Instead, I went to therapy. I started seeing a counselor named Dr. Patricia. She was a kind woman with gray hair and glasses. She listened to me for 1 hour every week. She let me cry. She let me scream. She let me say all the things I had kept inside for years. Dr. Patricia said something to me that changed everything. She said, "Emma, you cannot control what your father does, but you can control how you respond. You can spend your life being angry, or you can spend your life being happy. The choice is yours." I thought about that for a long time. I realized that I had been waiting for my father to love me. I had been waiting for him to see me. I had been waiting for him to say he was proud of me, but he never would. Not because I was unlovable, but because he was incapable of giving love. That was his problem, not mine, so I stopped waiting. I started living. I joined a book club. I started walking in the park every morning. I adopted a second cat, a little gray girl I named Lily. I painted my apartment walls yellow because yellow is the color of sunshine. I started wearing brighter clothes. I even bought a red dress, not for anyone else. For me. Chloe, meanwhile, was living her best life. She posted video after video from the mansion. She showed off her new car, her new jewelry, her new vacation home in Aspen. She laughed and smiled and posed. But I noticed something. Behind her eyes, there was something empty. She had everything, but she looked tired. She looked lonely. I did not feel sorry for her, but I did not feel happy either. I just felt nothing, and that nothing was peaceful. Then, 8 months after the party, I got a call from my father. His voice was different. Softer. Older. He said, "Emma, can you come to the house? I am not feeling well." I almost said no. I almost hung up. But something in his voice made me pause. It was not the voice of a man giving orders. It was the voice of a man asking for help. I said, "What is wrong?" He said, "Just come. Please, I need to see you." I drove the 3 hours again. This time, my hands did not shake. My heart did not pound. I felt calm. I felt ready. Whatever he said, I would not let him break me again. When I arrived, the mansion was dark. The staff was gone. The driveway was empty. Chloe was in Paris for a Fashion Week event. Brad was on a yacht somewhere with his business partners. My father sat alone in his study. He had a glass of water in his hand, not whiskey. He looked smaller than I remembered. His skin was gray. His hands shook. He had lost a lot of weight. He said, "The doctors say I have 6 months. Maybe less, heart failure. It runs in the family." I sat across from him. I did not move to comfort him. I did not take his hand. But I did not look away either. I just sat and looked at him. I said, "I am sorry to hear that, Dad." He looked at me with wet eyes. His voice cracked. "Emma, I made a mistake. At the party, I was harsh. I was cruel. I have been thinking about it every day. I want to change the will. Give you something, a house, some money, enough to live comfortably." I said, "Dad, I do not want your money. I have built a life for myself. A small life, but a happy one. I have my library. I have my cats. I have my friends. I do not need your mansion or your company." He looked confused. He did not understand. Money was all he had ever known. He could not imagine someone not wanting it. He said, "But Emma, you are my daughter. I should have treated you better. I should have seen you. I was blind. Your mother tried to tell me. She said, 'Richard, Emma is the one with the golden heart.' But I did not listen. I was too busy building my empire. I thought money was everything. Now I am dying and I have nothing but regret." I felt something then. Not love exactly. Not forgiveness either. But something soft. Something that hurt. I said, "Dad, what do you want from me?" He said, "I want you to forgive me. I want you to be there when I die. I do not want to be alone." I sat there for a long time. I thought about all the years of hurt. All the birthdays he forgot. All the school plays he missed. All the times he chose work over me. I thought about my mother, dying in that hospital bed, holding my hand because he was in a meeting. I thought about the party, the champagne glass shattering on the floor, the way he looked at me like I was nothing. And then I thought about Dr. Patricia. She said, "Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. It is the key that unlocks the prison of your own anger." I took a deep breath. I said, "Dad, I forgive you." He started to cry, big, ugly, shaking sobs. I had never seen my father cry, not when my mother died. Not when his own father died. Not once in 26 years. But he cried then. He cried like a child. I did not hug him. I was not ready for that. But I did not leave either. I sat with him while he cried. When he was done, I handed him a tissue. He blew his nose and looked at me with red eyes. He said, "Emma, I want to make things right. Not with money, with the truth. I am going to call a family meeting. You and Chloe. I am going to tell her the truth, that I was wrong, that I love you both, that I want to split everything equally." I said, "Dad, Chloe will not accept that. She will fight you." He said, "Let her fight. I am dying. I have nothing to lose. But I have everything to gain. I want to die with a clean conscience." He called Chloe that night. She was still in Paris. He told her to come home. She said she was busy. He said, "Your father is dying. Come home." She said she would think about it. She came home 3 days later, not because she loved him, because she was afraid he would change the will. She walked into the mansion with Brad by her side. She looked at me with cold eyes. She said, "What is this about, Emma? What have you done?" I said, "I have done nothing, Chloe. Dad asked for this meeting, not me." My father sat in his big chair by the fireplace. He looked small and old and tired. He motioned for us to sit. Chloe sat on one couch, I sat on the other. Brad stood by the door like a guard. My father said, "Chloe, Emma, I have something to say. I have made many mistakes in my life, but my biggest mistake was choosing one daughter over the other. I thought money and ambition were the most important things. I was wrong. Love is the most important thing. Family is the most important thing." Chloe crossed her arms. She said, "Dad, what are you saying?" He said, "I am saying that I am changing the will. I am leaving half of everything to Emma, and half to you." Chloe stood up. Her face turned red. "No," she screamed. "No, no, no, you cannot do this. I am the one who made you proud. I am the one who built your brand. I am the one who posted about you on social media." Emma did nothing. She hid in her library like a mouse. My father said, "Chloe, sit down." She did not sit. She paced back and forth. She was shaking with anger. Brad put a hand on her arm. She shook him off. My father said, "Chloe, listen to me. Emma stayed with your mother when she was dying. You were in Cabo. Emma paid my bills when I was too drunk to remember. You were posting selfies. Emma held my hand when I cried at night. You were at parties. She has been here all along. You have been gone. I was too blind to see it, but I see it now." Chloe stopped pacing. She looked at me. Her eyes were full of hate. She said, "This is your fault. You poisoned him against me." I said, "No, Chloe. I did not poison anyone. I just told the truth. You cannot handle the truth because you have been living a lie. Your whole life is a lie, the perfect photos, the perfect smile, the perfect husband. It is all fake." Brad shifted uncomfortably by the door. Chloe said, "You are just jealous. You have always been jealous. You are the ugly sister, the poor sister, the nobody." I stood up. I walked toward her. I did not feel angry. I felt calm. I said, "Chloe, I am not jealous of you. I feel sorry for you. You have millions of followers, but no real friends. You have a mansion, but no home. You have a husband, but no love. You have everything, but you have nothing. I have a small apartment, 2 cats, a library job, and a heart full of peace. Who is really richer?" She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. For the first time in her life, Chloe had nothing to say. My father said, "The new will is already signed. The lawyer is coming tomorrow to make it official. Half to Emma, half to Chloe. That is my final decision." Chloe grabbed her purse. She said, "I will fight this. I will hire the best lawyers. I will take everything." My father said, "You can try, but you will lose. And if you fight, I will tell the world the truth. About the Cabo trip, about the funeral, about all of it. Is that what you want?" Chloe stood there, frozen. Brad walked over and whispered something in her ear. She nodded. Then she turned and walked out of the room. Brad followed her. The front door slammed. I sat back down. My father looked at me. He said, "Emma, are you okay?" I said, "I do not know, Dad. I am tired, I am sad, but I am also relieved. For the first time, I feel like you see me." He said, "I see you, Emma. I am sorry it took me so long." The lawyer came the next day. The new will was signed. Half to me, half to Chloe. I did not celebrate. I did not dance. I just nodded and went back to my library. My father died 4 months later. I was there. I held his hand. He looked at me and said, "Emma, you were always the strong one. I was just too proud to admit it. Thank you for staying." Then he closed his eyes and he was gone. Chloe did not come to the funeral. She sent flowers. A big, expensive arrangement with a card that said, "Rest in peace, Dad. I will miss you." That was all. I did not fight her for the money. I took my half. She took hers. She bought a bigger mansion in Florida. She posted pictures of it online. She got a new husband, a younger man with more hair. She still has millions of followers. She is still beautiful. But I know something that her followers do not know. I know that she is empty inside. And that is not my problem. What did I do with my half? I did not buy a mansion. I did not buy a yacht. I did not buy fancy clothes. I bought the library where I worked. The building was old and needed repairs. The roof leaked. The heating system was broken. The town was going to close it down because they did not have the money to fix it. I used my inheritance to save it. I fixed the roof. I fixed the heat. I bought new books. I hired more staff. I started a free reading program for children. I named the library the Margaret Hartwell Library after my mother. I put a plaque on the wall near the front door. It says, "Strength is not loud. Strength is staying when everyone else leaves." I still live in my small apartment. I still drive my old Honda. I still wear cardigans, but now they are bright colors. Mr. Mew and Lily sleep on my lap every night. I am not rich. I am not famous, but I am happy. People ask me sometimes if I regret forgiving my father, if I wish I had taken everything and left Chloe with nothing. The answer is no, I do not regret it. Revenge is a poison. It destroys the person who drinks it. I chose forgiveness, not because my father deserved it, but because I deserved peace. My father learned his lesson in the end. He learned that love is more important than money. He learned that the quiet daughter was the strong daughter all along. He died with my hand in his. That is more than he deserved, but it is what I chose to give. And Chloe, she is still out there, posting her perfect life. But I do not follow her. I do not watch her videos. I do not care. She is my sister, but she is not my family. My family is the people who show up. My coworkers at the library. My book club friends, my 2 cats. The children who come to story time. That is my family. The lesson, if there is one, is this. You cannot control what other people do. You cannot make someone love you. You cannot make someone see your worth. But you can control how you respond. You can choose anger, or you can choose peace. You can choose revenge, or you can choose forgiveness. You can choose to be bitter, or you can choose to be happy. I chose happy, and I have never regretted it. My name is Emma Hartwell. I am a librarian. I am the daughter who stayed, and I am finally free. Do not let anyone tell you that you are too soft, too quiet, too small. The world needs people who care. The world needs people who stay. And when the loud ones have spent all their money and lost all their friends and faded from the spotlight, the quiet ones will still be there. Shelving books, feeding cats, holding hands, building something that matters.